Wow, so I have mixed thoughts. Before I really get into anything, I want to say excuse my voice if it kind of goes in and out. I've been pretty sick. It's one of the reasons I haven't made any more videos after the Nintendo 2 Direct, any new videos on like what was brought up in that Direct. My voice is kind of coming back, and I figured I didn't really want to miss this one. And then I watched it, and it certainly was a Direct. So the obvious complaint out of the way, we didn't really see much in this Direct. Like, this gave us almost nothing that we haven't already witnessed. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a fun Direct. It was fairly short, it was well paced, but at the same time, it had kind of been overhyped by, not even by the fans, it had been overhyped by Nintendo leading up to this Direct. Not only have we had a daily countdown on the Nintendo Today app, but also the president and vice president of Nintendo of America, Doug Bowser and Bill Trinen, have both stated in interviews leading up to this that, you know, this Direct would show why the game was so expensive. They stated that this game was worth the price that they put on it, and that to see why it was worth that, to watch the Direct. And from what I understand, the Nintendo Treehouse streams also said the same thing. Not necessarily about the price, they were saying watch the Direct to see more of the secrets, more of the things that are hidden in the open world. Now, personally, I have not watched any of the Nintendo Treehouse stuff, at least not the Mario Kart stuff, so a lot of the information that was new for me from this Direct, which still wasn't a lot, wasn't new to anyone that watched those. Basically, if you watched the Treehouse streams, and if you went to any of the Nintendo Live events where you get to try the Switch 2, you saw very little that you hadn't already seen. Now, I both do not live somewhere that is close enough to go to one of those events, and I haven't seen the Treehouse streams. So some of this information was new to me. I saw a lot of the courses for the first time that other people have already, got to drive in. So I want to do some pros and some cons. I've tried to record this video a couple of times, and I've noticed that I have tended to be negative in them. And I'm trying to kind of be somewhere in the middle. Mostly because my feelings are somewhere in the middle. On one hand, I'm incredibly hyped. This game looks really fun. This looks like potentially the best Mario Kart ever. And on the other hand, this Direct, to me, did not really justify the price tag. But we'll start with the pros. I want to start with some of the pros. We're going to try to make like a pro-con sandwich. First off, the visuals. The visuals of this game look amazing. Like, this looks so good. They showed us at one point what the 4-player split screen will look like, and the frames did drop, but I don't think they dropped enough that it's a big deal if you're having friends over for Mario Kart. Like, looking at it when you're doing online, or when you're doing, even 2-player, it does look a lot smoother. I don't know if it's 60 or if it has the ability to go above like Metroid Prime 4 will. But I don't think the drop when you have a 4-player split screen is that big of a deal for me personally. As an individual who has people that come play Mario Kart in person, I can deal with that. It's not that big of a drop. Even if it is number-wise a big drop, it doesn't look so horrendous. Like some people were really blowing that out of proportion. We got another look at some of the new characters, which are mostly seems like Mario bad guys and or like NPCs from courses and Mario levels. So that's interesting. We got to have a better look at the costume system, which will be based on foods. You eat different foods and get different costumes. So that's kind of cool. Like, eat sushi, you get Japanese themed costumes. You eat a burger, you get something that's American, I guess. I don't know. There was like a little clip of Luigi that had a pizza, and he was in like a gondola outfit. But, other than that, most of the things we saw we already knew. They gave us another look at the Grand Prix and the knockout modes, which we saw in the Direct 2 weeks ago. They did show us that we'd get time trial, but I mean, like, that was assumed. So cool. We got to have a little glimpse at the battle mode, which is always good. It's always good to know that battles are coming. I assumed they would again because the last time there was Backlash. The only two modes that I saw were the balloon battle, which is the classic one, and the coin collecting one. A little bummed about that. I really enjoy Shine Thief and Bob-omb Blast. I think Bob-omb Blast is the most chaotic fun of just any of the Mario Kart battle modes. I don't remember the name of the like cops and robbers one, but that one's also fun. I just really like the Mario Kart 8 battle system. I am a little bummed that a lot of those are presumably getting kicked to the side. They didn't say they were going to be there, but they also didn't say they weren't. I'm assuming that they're not. They showed us the free roam and the open world, which does appear to just be massive. People have pointed out that the map actually looks kind of similar in a few ways to the Breath of the Wild map, and if it's anywhere near that big, that's huge. Like that's really, really big. They did show us a few secrets that you can find when you're exploring the world. One is you will find the little P-switches. Those will turn on missions. So presumably the way they're explaining it, it sounds like the mission mode from the DS Mario Kart game is going to be here. So that's a really big deal. That's something that a lot of people have really wanted. In addition, there are secret panels. They did not tell us what those do. And they said more. They said and more. So I have no idea what else is out in this open world, this big, empty, vast space. But even though this was the Direct that was supposed to tell us the things to get us excited, they just kind of, they gave us the mystery box, and that's annoying. That's not what we were told when we came here. When you do local wireless, you can get up to 8 systems together, so that's kind of cool. From what I understand, there are also LAN capabilities, so you can get more than that if you wanted to have a full 24 amount of people. So that, you know, that's cool. But like at the same time, is that it? Like, that's pretty much it. That's what they showed us. Okay, so they did also show us some new items. Items that, if you watched the Treehouse or if you went to any of the events, you've already seen. I hadn't seen them. There is a shell that you can throw that will leave coins, so that's kind of cool. There is a Hammer Bro item that you just chuck hammers, and then there's the Kamek item, which I have seen people talk about before. Kamek will turn all of the opponents into some Mario baddie for a short amount of time, and then, you know, versions of that same baddie will show up as an obstacle. So that's kind of cool. That's a cool item. We also have this new jump feature. You can charge up a drift while going forward and jump to get a little boost. You can do that to jump up and grind on the rails or to wall ride, so you can keep yourself from falling on certain levels. They showed us some footage of people utilizing this wall ride for a few different tricks and maneuvers, so that was neat. That's cool stuff. That said, those are just some new add-ons and some new mechanics. That's not something that justifies a $20 leap in price. And here's the thing. I understand there's a lot going on right now. I'm not going to get into all of that because that is not what I do here, but there's a lot of things happening that's causing everything to get expensive. But that said, I feel like this game could have been $70. I feel like it could have been $60. But as far as like the current trend of how games are costing, you know, with inflation, with everything going on, 70 I feel like would have been a fair price for this game. Nothing that they showed us today, to me, justifies it being that expensive. There is an argument to be had because, you know, this is a Nintendo game. It's going to be completed, you know, that's a big one. It shouldn't be crazy buggy. It shouldn't have any missing features. It should be a done, complete package that will be fun right out of the box. Which is more than I can say about like EA or Activision or Blizzard. Ubisoft charges awful prices for its games, and they just ship terrible. But at the same time, 80 just... something about it feels incorrect. You know, it's hard to really come to terms with that. Another argument to be had is, you know, how much do people spend on like gacha games and mobile games? Not to mention like cosmetics and first-person shooters. The amount of cash people blow on like free-to-play games. So I mean, like, if it's complete and it has, you know, it should technically make sense. But at the same time, I don't know. It feels incorrect. The general consensus is that it seems like the real reason this game is $80 is because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was the best-selling game on the Switch. Like, it outsold Odyssey, it outsold everything. And I mean, yeah, I get that. It has mass appeal. People like Mario Kart. People that don't play racing games play Mario Kart. People that don't play games that often play Mario Kart. And this one looks legitimately fun. This one looks really, really fun. And I feel like I'm gonna get my money's worth out of it. I really do feel like I would get that amount out of it because I'm gonna play it with my friends. I'm gonna play it with my kids. I'm gonna play it with my wife, my sisters-in-law, my sister, my brothers. I'm gonna end up playing this online, offline. Like, I play Mario Kart quite a bit. I'm not amazing at it. I'm not a competitive Mario Kart player. I don't, you know, abide by the meta or any of that shit. But it's something that I find really fun, and it is something I'm gonna end up doing quite often. But even then, it's just hard to come to terms with that price. I feel like it is worth it, but something about the precedent that it sets is what upsets me, I think. Because even if this Mario Kart is like the best Mario Kart, and if it does turn out that everybody decides, oh no, this actually was worth 80, you know, are we gonna have the next Call of Duty be 80 bucks? Because that's barely worth 60. And another thing that bums me out is if you want to save on it, you can just get the bundle. The bundle is gonna be produced through fall, and it's $500, which means it's a $450 console, which I think makes sense based on what we've seen from the console. And then you get the game. So the game is 50 instead of 80, but it's digital. And that upsets me the most, I think, because I don't want to have it in digital. I want to have it in physical. I want to have it. I'm one of those old loser nerds who loves to look at the games on the shelf, likes to choose them, put them in, and play them that way. I don't care how convenient a digital is. I don't want a whole bunch of digital games that I just have to hope every day are still running, because you never know when they're just going to get shut off. And I don't know. It's complicated. But I'm going to end on a hopeful note. This is going to be positive speculation. I'm hoping that there's still a lot that we haven't seen. You know, they haven't announced if there's going to be additional tracks coming, other than there's one confirmed to be unlockable, and that's Rainbow Road. So that's cool. I like that you unlock Rainbow Road. That's fun. It gives you something to move toward. We don't know much about unlocking the new characters, other than some of them are involved with the Kamek item. So I don't know if you discover the new characters when you're going around in open world. That's an interesting concept. You know, there's a lot still that we have no clue about. So I'm hopeful that there is still just a ton of stuff that we don't know. I'm hoping that there's a lot more to this game than just Mario Kart, but it's $20 more expensive than last time. Because at the moment, that's what it looks like. And I am trying to be positive and hoping that there's something more to it. But anyway, I think that's about it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. I've got some more of my regular content coming soon, you know, talking about individual video games. I also am going to be doing one on, I want to speculate what this GameCube announcement is, you know? I want to know more about what we're going to get on the Switch 2 as far as GameCube goes. And I think that'll be a fun thing to discuss. But anyway, until next time, I've been Dogface. Thank you for watching. Be kind to each other.